What's up, everybody? I'm Patrick, your host with LightSource Engraving. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for stopping in. I do appreciate it. And if you're a new viewer, what took you so long? But that's okay, because you are now my new favorite viewer. So thank you very much. Today, 3D engraving, 4 different types of wood. I'm going to show you that on camera. I'm going to show you the way I adjust the image in LIGHTBurn. I'm going to show you settings for a 30-watt diode. So let's just get started and jump into LIGHTBurn. All right, so we're now in LIGHTBurn. Check out this cool unicorn skull, or the Uniskull image supplied by Sharks with Lasers. If you haven't checked out Sharks with Lasers, please do. Patreon.com/c/Sharks with Lasers. Link is in the description. Jeremiah is providing this Grayscale to my viewers for free at no cost. The link to the Grayscale will be in the description. So check out Sharks with Lasers. They have tons of depth maps and HD images. Let me just scroll through and show you some of them. So be sure and check them out. Jeremiah is designing some really awesome stuff. And of course, we have this image that he has designed. When I first get a Grayscale image, I'll do an adjustment. Although this image looks, this style of Grayscale typically doesn't need an adjustment. So let's show you how these adjustments will look. And if you're not familiar, we're going to be running this in Grayscale. So be sure and set it for Grayscale. This is for wood. Brightness will obviously increase the brightness or decrease the brightness of an image. And the way it works is it adjusts the whole image at a time. Gamma traditionally works on just the midtones, so it doesn't affect the darks, and it doesn't affect the blacks, and it doesn't affect the whites. So it's adjusting the midtones. So you can adjust that to achieve some more depth or detail in the midtone of your Grayscale. Brightness, if you want to darken that, darker areas will be engraved deeper. So if you want to change the depth, you can change the brightness. In contrast, if you wanted to increase the depth variation between areas or decrease it between areas, you can adjust the contrast. So what would I do to this image? I'm looking here and there's a lot of fine detail. I would look to see if there's any way I can bring out more of that detail to have it a little bit darker, a little bit deeper. So you might want to increase the gamma. Or let's say we want the overall image to be a little bit deeper. We could drop the brightness a little bit. So say if we increase the gamma, drop the brightness, and took the contrast up, just to have some variation between the levels, we could end up with just a slightly adjusted image that looks like that. Line interval, that's going to be adjusted in our settings. And I like to run an enhanced radius of 5, enhanced amount of 50. You can play around with that and see if you like it. But let's just go with this. I'm going to save it as a preset. I'm going to save all of these settings. We're going to call it Grayscale on wood 1. And then I'll hit save. The other thing I'm going to get into is the settings. But before I do that, just a disclaimer that this setting has worked with the lasermatic 30 watt. So it's the 30 watt blue diode. And when you're running these 3D grayscales or running a grayscale with these tight line spaces and high power, you increase your chance of potentially starting a fire. Make sure your air assist is on. You're going to need it. This is actually showing air assist off, but that's not the case. It's just whenever they're linked. Kind of a glitch there, see? So if I unlink it, the air assist is on. So I'm going to give you this exact file complete with these settings, and you'll have those to use for a 30 watt diode. If you're using a different wattage diode, then you would want to adjust your settings accordingly. So if it's lower power, you can increase. If it's lower watt diode, you can increase your power or slow the speed down a little bit to adjust. And you just have to kind of do a percentage based on the percentage reduction of the diode power. And that'll get you close. I'm hoping these settings get you in a really good ballpark where you can start playing around, do your own experimenting, and come up with some really good settings for your laser. First thing I want to do is go through the settings with you. I have 3 different passes. So let me expand these out here. So I started out with poplar, and I found that poplar and walnut and pine are all pretty close. They'll behave similar. For the first pass, which would be image pass 1, for plywood, it needs to be sped up or the power reduced because the plywood isn't thick enough for the amount of material we will be removing with these settings. So for poplar, 3D image pass 1. Pass 1 is our initial engraving. This one you can add a second pass if you want to get more depth. Let me show you that setting. There, you want to take a screenshot of this so you can enter it into your library. So pass 1 is 5,000 speed, 100 power max, 10% power min. Air assist is on, bidirectional, 5% overscan, line interval of 0.05. And of course, we're in grayscale mode. So be sure and screenshot this and copy that down. So that's pass 1. For pass 2, look at this as a cleanup pass. It's running at a much higher speed and a little bit tighter line interval. And you might get an error from LIGHTBurn saying that CO2s aren't capable of that. Just ignore it and proceed. The diode has no problem. And our speed is 20,000 millimeters per minute. Max power 60, min power 10, air assist on, bidirectional, 5% overscan, line interval 0.04, and it's grayscale. Second pass is not needed on this one. And there's the arrow 500 for most CO2 lasers, and we'll just keep it at yes. So pass 3, you'll see it says sketch trace the image first. Run this third pass for detail. So what does that mean? Well, here's the third pass. And this is running at 6,000, max power 60, 1 pass only, and it's in line mode. So what I mean by sketch trace is that we are going to literally trace this image. But first, we're going to set up our layers. So if we go with this is on our workspace as a red layer. We don't want that to be red. We want it to be black, which is our first pass for our wood engraving setting. So here, I'm going to go black and then link that. Poplar 3D pass 1 engraving, add a second for more depth. Then we have our blue layer. We're going to make that the second pass. And then this is our line layer, which is the sketch trace. So we'll link that. All right, so those are linked. But this is a red image layer. So we need to first change it to the black image layer. So we click on 0, 0. Now it is now linked to black. Then we want to duplicate it. So hit Control D for duplicate. Now we actually have 2 of them. So now that we have our second, we're going to apply it to the 0, 1 image layer. So there we go. Now we have 2 layers. You'll see this one is highlighted. It's in black, but it's hard to see. And then this one is in blue. So there's black, there's blue. And then just make sure those are lined up. So you can always grab them both and hit your bullseye. Those are centered. Then we can take the top layer, right click, trace image, and we want to select sketch trace. Now what this sketch trace is going to do is basically get us some lines traced in there for detail. And you can adjust this, how much detail you actually want that trace to pick up. So I normally adjust it up, let's say around to the 3/4 area, and then hit OK. And then that's coming through on the blue now, and we can move that over. And you'll see that's what we're going to get. We don't want this outer border, so let's ungroup it. Select this outer border, click delete, group it back together, and then put it right back over top where it belongs. Hopefully it'll snap back in. So now what's going to happen is on this third pass, it's just going to run a line and just fill in some of these spots and give a little bit more detail. Now you don't have to do that. On some images, it helps. I found that on this image, it really helped to bring out some of these lines in the skull that are in the foreground and added some more depth to the face of the unicorn. And it just made it pop a little bit more. Not a huge difference, but enough difference that I definitely want it applied. And that's all we have to do to have 3 different layers set up. So 2 images. There's image 1. Here's image 2. And then here's our third line layer. Then you can just grab those, bullseye them, and there we go. Now they are assigned the correct settings, and the settings are in the correct order. Black on top, then blue, black image, then blue image, then blue line. And that's it. We are ready to go. And as I said before, these are starter settings for you to test out your laser. If you have the lasermatic Mark II 30 watt, this should be a good to go setting for you right out of the box. So you shouldn't need any adjustment. And please be mindful, keep an eye on your laser, make sure you don't have any issues with any flare-ups, flames, make sure your air assist is on and running. You're going to need that air assist. Now at this point, we can get this job ready, lined up, and run it. So let's run through poplar and run through, let's see, it'll either be a walnut or pine. I'll film, and then we'll come back and wrap this up in just a few.
Light source hitting hard in our shop. Got the lasers burning hot, ain't ever gonna stop. Make it, veds dropping hits, watch it pop. We in the shop and we climbing to the top. Step up in the shop, it's about to go down. Got the LIGHTBurn fired up, no messing around. Metal, wood, acrylic, watch me carve the crown. Design so sharp, make the haters frown. Spinning that rotary, getting that glass to clean. This ain't a dream, this work's extreme. Light source videos, I'm running the scene. No limits to the hustle on this daily routine. Light source hitting hard in our shop. Got the lasers burning hot, ain't ever gonna stop. Make it, veds dropping hits, watch it pop. We in the shop and we climbing to the top. You need a custom piece, yeah, I'm on the case. Laser so sharp, I can etch your face. Every vid I drop, blowing up in no time. Fans going crazy, this grind's all mine. I'm slicing through wood, etching steel with skill. Precision so sharp, gets the haters a chill. 8M locked in, perfect real, no frills. From the shop to the screen, I'm stacking up drills. Light source hitting hard in our shop. Got the lasers burning hot, ain't ever gonna stop. Make it, vids dropping hits, watch it pop. We in the shop and we climbing to the top. Need that custom 3D, you know where to come. Lasers light it up, leave the competition numb. Logos, names, no doubt, I get it done. Content's fire, burning hotter than the sun. Little bit of hustle, whole lot of fight. Turn the camera on, we're working all night. In the shop daily, no time to chill. We own this game, always moving uphill. It's light source hitting hard in our shop. Got the lasers burning hot, ain't ever gonna stop. Make it, vids dropping hits, watch them pop. We in the shop and we climbing to the top. Source engraving. There's a source you could use for the light source engraving videos.
Watch the lines as they begin to glow. Lasers at work, putting on a show. Every pulse, every move, precision's the key. But all the way, it's eternity. Tick tock, the laser hums as we wait for the masterpiece to come. Hold on tight, it won't be long. This artwork's worth the wait, stay strong. Lines and curves, they twist and turn. Each second ticks as the lasers burn. Patience is the game, the reward's in sight. The final review will be pure delight.
right, have those finished up. Let's check them out and I'll give you a close-up. First, I want to show you the 6mm birch plywood. And what I did with the setting for the plywood is I increased the speed of the first layer and I doubled the speed to 10,000. So take that first layer, double the speed to 10,000, and you've got your setting for 6mm birch plywood. Now here's what it looks like. What I tried to do is adjust that setting to get through the layers of plywood so that the base of this honeycomb was relatively free of the black, because that's just within the layer of plywood we were turned that color. So overall it looks nice. Could do a little bit of adjusting to get that honeycomb raised part out of that particular layer of the plywood so that it wouldn't have the little white spots where it's kind of flaked off. And that can be adjusted with the speed or the power. And I think it'd give a cleaner result. So it's a good place to start. But the detail's there, the depth is there, it looks good. So overall happy with just the first time running the 6mm plywood. Now let's move on to pine. As you know, pine is really soft wood. But as you look at the rings in the pine, those are harder wood. So the soft in-between wood is going to burn faster than the actual rings. So you will actually see the ring lines in the pine. So let me get some light on it. But even though you can see the ring lines, it still turned out pretty darn good. Just for something to be done with a Diode Laser and have that CNC look to it, I was pretty pleased. So again, this is a great place to start working with pine. Pretty good setting. Lots of detail. Let me get it closer. It can probably be tweaked a little bit, maybe a little less power. But overall, pretty good result, in my opinion, for the first time running pine with that setting. Now let's go to a big chunk of spalted walnut. Walnut always burns darker. It is a hardwood, so you don't get quite the amount of removal that you do from pine or even poplar. But this is a solid chunk. And let me show you. I need to get more light. There we go. There you can see how good that looks. Lots of detail. It looks really cool. It's not perfectly smooth, but it's not going to be. We're doing this with a laser, but it definitely looks good. I'm very happy with that. And let me show you the depth we do have. So that's a really nice 3D look. Now let me show you the poplar. The poplar turned out amazing. And this is with the Uniskull. So this is the image that you are getting. Now let me show you the depth. Pay attention to the skull eye. You can really see the depth there. And then let me show you the unicorn horn there. Now you can really see how much depth we achieved with the poplar. So this was done with the 30-watt lasermatic Mark II. I'll leave a link to the lasermatic in the description as well if you're interested in one of those lasers. It's awesome. I'm just really amazed at the amount of detail and depth. Now, to be fair, it all starts with a great image that was provided by Sharks with Lasers. So don't forget to download that image and check them out. So I'm very pleased with how this turned out. I spent 2 days, like 16 hours, testing a whole bunch of different settings, landed on these 2 settings that I think will be a great starting point for you, no matter which diode laser you have. At least give you a place to start and adjust and start experimenting with some 3D grayscales in grayscale mode in LIGHTBurn. And don't forget to check out Sharks with Lasers, because every good end result starts with an even better grayscale to begin with. So get you a good grayscale and start practicing with that grayscale. That way you'll have a comparison to know if the next grayscale that you get, if it's from a different source, might not be up to the same standards. So at least you'll have a good reference point. And I'm really happy with poplar. So get you a piece of 3/4 inch poplar and go to town, practice both sides until you get it dialed in exactly the way you want it. And that is all I have for today. Yeah, that's it. Other than to say thank you, patrons and channel members, for supporting me. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you all for watching and sticking around to the end. And most importantly, have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.